Any time from now, we will begin, and very briefly, we will begin with the anthems. We'll have a prayer led by Reverend Father Muchibi. Then we'll proceed with the welcome remarks. We'll have a documentary on Obuntubulamu. Then we'll proceed as prepared. Let's enjoy this evening. Let's enjoy this moment. Say hello to a friend, a colleague, because Obuntubulamu is such a great thing to be a part of. Are you a Muntubulamu? It begins today. The launch is today. Sheila, are you a Muntubulamu?
I am a Muntubulamu, and everybody here is Muntubulamu.
By the mere fact that you're invited this evening, you are a Muntubulamu.
You are Muntubulamu.
So thank you very much for honoring the invitation.
Yes.
Even honoring the invitation depicts that you are a Muntubulamu.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
What am I to you? Tell me, darling, true. To me, you are to see, best as you can be.
I can see the signs welcoming Mama Nabagirika. You'll pardon me because I'll request you once again to stand and welcome the Nabagirika of Uganda here today at the launch of Obuntubulamu. May we please welcome in a very special way Mama Nabagirika. A bigger clap, please.
Wow.
We shall have the anthems. We will begin with the national anthem.
Owangaale Ssaabasajja.
Muchibi for the opening prayer.
Loving Father, we thank you for the gift of life you have given us. We thank you for the gift of faith, love, and hope. We thank you for the gift of the Kingdom of Buganda and all its associated programs. We thank you in a special way for the Nabagereka Development Foundation. We thank you for the gift of each and every one of us, our chief guest and special guests. As we reflect and meditate upon the Obuntubulamu project, reignite in us the values of inclusion, participation, generosity, and love, and consideration of one another. May you bless this function. May you bless all the stakeholders. Bless the facilitators and bless the environment. Let whatever we are going to reflect upon be for the greater glory of your name, for the development of this kingdom, for the prosperity of Nabakereka Development Foundation, and the salvation of each and every one of us. We make this our prayer through Christ our Lord. Our Father, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns forever and ever.
Thank you very much. May we please sit, and in a very special way, may we once again welcome all our guests this evening. Such a great evening, with all the weather allowing us to have a Obuntubulamu conditioning. So thank you very much. May we welcome in a very special way the Honorable Minister for Gender, Labor and Social Development, who is here as the Vice President, Honorable Betty Amongi. You're most welcome. We want to welcome in a very special way our host, who is behind Obuntubulamu, who has done everything to ensure that Obuntubulamu is within us, within our homes, within our villages, within our country, and in the entire world. Mama Nabagereka, you're most welcome. Thank you very much for bringing us all this far with Obuntubulamu. We very much appreciate. In a very special way, we want to welcome the UNDP resident representative, Miss Wane Wede. Most welcome. Thank you for the support. Thank you for all the encouragement. We very much appreciate. Want to welcome in a very special way the Honorable Minister for ICT, Uwekitiibwa Joyce Nabosa Sebugwawo. Tweyanziza nnyo. Thank you for the support and all the efforts into Obuntubulamu. We want to welcome and recognize Honorable Maria Chiwanuka. Thank you very much for all the support to the Nabagereka Development Foundation and Nabagereka herself. We want to welcome and appreciate the efforts into Obuntubulamu by Mrs. Elizabeth Luanga. We must clap. The clap must be bigger than that, as you'll later know. We want to welcome in a very special way Super Supreme Mufti Sheikh Shaban Muhammad Galawuzi and the entourage. You're most welcome. We appreciate you being here, meaning that Obuntubulamu now in the Muslim community is settled. We want to welcome the other religious leaders amidst us. We want to welcome the cultural leaders amidst us in a very special way. Let us welcome the Kingdom Minister for Social Services, Oweekitiibwa Kotilda Nakate Chikomeko. Social Services has health, education, and the office of the Nabagereka. We want to welcome the other cultural leaders here with us. Rot, Colin, Atiku, Mutu, to the Kekwaro Acholi. He has waved and dressed very well in a kanzu. We want to welcome Honorable Bob Okecho Pio, Kuramatira, focal person. Thank you very much. We want to welcome Oweekitiibwa Philip Katohoire, Obuntubulamu focal person, and want to welcome Honorable Hasha Wilson Owere from Tengadola. And in a very special way, we welcome Mr. James Tumusime, who is responsible for Obuntubulamu in Ankole, and the wife. Thank you very much. May I request at this juncture to welcome all of you, because if I now mention each of us, then we shall delay on the other parts of the program. But we appreciate your presence, we appreciate your time, we appreciate your support to this event. Thank you very much. We shall be letting you know who else is here with us. But let me welcome Mr. Andrew Adrian Muchibi to give us the welcome remarks. Andrew, please step forward as I prepare to welcome the rest. We shall be working with Sheila. Sheila Mwanga is here with me. And we want to make this evening memorable. Have a smile with your neighbor. Make sure this evening is memorable and one of its own in this effort to launch the Obuntubulamu in the entire world. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, Your Royal Highness, Honorable Minister, and the resident representative for the UNDP. We are delighted that you've made it today to this very, very important function for the Kingdom of Uganda, for the Kingdom of Buganda, the Kingdom of Alur, Acholi, Bunyoro, Busoga, Tiengadola, Bubusingabware, Nzururu, and all those that are part of this very important program for us. It's with great pleasure that the Honorable Vice President has sent us a representative who is the Minister for Gender. We are very, very honored, Honorable Minister. Amidst us is a team of cultural institutions that have been on this journey for the last 8 years. And the reason why we are here, by the time we leave this event today, we shall know why is it important that we have such a function, why is it important that we do what we are trying to do. We believe that when the cultural leaders, the political leaders, the religious leaders, and the public join hands in this struggle, we shall live a better life, we shall enjoy a more prosperous life. Thank you very much, and feel at home. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I think he deserves a really warm clap coming from the foundation. Next on our program, our dignitaries will have the documentary on Obuntubulamu in Uganda. It's a 10-minute documentary just giving us a little snapshot of what's going on with Obuntubulamu. Our documentary guy, please.
Obuntubulamu is a value system. Make people adopt to ways that can be beneficial to each of us.
If one took away Kuramatira from me, then I would remain empty.
This is the acceptable behavior of human beings amongst themselves.
You are because I am. I am because we are. That is very difficult to live as an individual in a group or society when you are, everything is about you.
When we are dealing with Obuntubulamu, we are looking at human characteristics of generosity, consideration, humanness towards others.
For generations, we have been having Obuntubulamu, Abantubulamu in East Africa, in Africa. But over the time, we have seen drifting situations of Obuntubulamu, partly because of what we go through on a daily basis.
You know that from the time of COVID, we have had so many teenage pregnancies. These are children who are getting pregnant before the age of the legal age of 18. And these are being made pregnant sometimes by young boys, but also sometimes by adults. That alone also shows that in that act alone, we are not espousing Obuntubulamu.
People stand on the roadside and ease themselves and say, I was answering nature. And others won't visit relatives in hospitals because they don't care. We used not to cut trees because we would say rain would not fall. And that was the wisdom, traditional wisdom, indigenous wisdom. Now it's no more. So the commitment for this kingdom is to revive all this.
We need to go back and understand what our cultural values are. We need to go back and understand why was our culture running in a certain way. I know there were some negative ones, but you know those negative ones with the time, they get pushed out and we remain with the good ones. So we need to have as many cultural boot camps as possible so that we are able to educate our people on what culture is, but also because most of the Obuntubulamu values really originate from our cultures and our religion.
We should do lobby for the curriculum to include this program in the primary schools and even churches.
We need to feel about the other, the sense that each of us should be responsible for the other.
People holding leadership positions, they must begin to, by themselves, by putting right what is wrong.
We need to do community mobilization on gender-based violence. We need to create awareness on issues of teenage pregnancy, on very many issues.
Obuntubulamu, I think let it be mainstreamed in leadership training activities.
You and I are breathing, but we share the air that we're breathing. So why don't we share whatever we have? And in that sharing, that commonality, we are building Obuntubulamu.
As cultural institutions, we need to come together and play our part. As government, they need to come together and play their part, and all the other leaders.
I appeal to people holding especially leadership positions, because we lead by examples. Exemplary leaders are the ones who won. So if we begin from that angle, by putting right what is supposed to be right, then I think we shall be trying to instill Obuntubulamu back into society.
Wow, let's give that a big hand clap. Mama Nabagereka, you're on the right track, making a case for Obuntubulamu. Thank you so much, Nabagereka Development Foundation, and all the panelists who are there making a good case for Obuntubulamu. Thank you so much. Mr. Zake, this is over to you.
Thank you very much. That's Obuntubulamu for us. Each of us needs to be a Obuntubulamu. We want to welcome in a very special way Deputy Resident Representative UNDP, Mr. Ian King, and the wife. Please, right there. Mama Nabagereka, the Right Honorable Minister. We have the Chienjes, Mr. Chienje, Mama Eva Chienje, seated right there. In a very special way, we want to recognize the efforts of the Nabagereka Development Foundation board members. Thank you very much for all what you've been able to do. Board of Trustees, NDF Board of Trustees, please wave. I may not. Yes, thank you very much. Your Excellency, the Vice President, I only introduced the Super Supreme Mufti, but the Archbishop Paul Semwogerere sent Father Joseph Muchibi, who gave us the opening prayer. Thank you very much for honoring this event. And Bishop Moses Banja sent Reverend Frobia Sebunya Mbowa here with us. Thank you very much. And we have Reverend Canon Nkonge, you're most welcome. Thank you very much for coming. No, this is Nyesiga. Thank you very much thank you very much. We want to recognize in a very special way the Commissioner of Prisons, Stephen Lugonda, representing the Commissioner General of Prisons. You're most welcome. As we've all been waiting, the brain behind Obuntubulamu is about to come. But before she comes, let us welcome Professor Elia Bulugujo. You're most welcome. As I said, I'll make sure each of us is introduced but in segments. In segments, because we don't want the introduction to consume our evening and to consume our Obuntubulamu. I want to welcome my boss in the Kingdom of Uganda, Oweekitiibwa Hajjat Mariam Nkalubo Mayanja, the Minister for Bulungi Bwansi, Obutonde Bwensi, that's Minister for Civic Guidance, Environment, Water, and Gender. In gender, we have the men, the women, the children, and people with disabilities, along with the elderly. So all those dockets are by Oweekitiibwa Hajjat Mariam Mayanja, and in addition to my other roles as Under Secretary, I dub as Principal Gender Officer. May I now welcome the person who has been behind Obuntubulamu with Mama Nabagereka. She's none other than Elizabeth Luanga, to take us through the Nabagereka Development Foundation's journey on reviving Obuntubulamu. She needs a clap. As she comes, we welcome Right Honorable Prince Lawrence Angara Opal Japidu, the Prime Minister of Alu Kingdom. Most welcome.
Thank you, Peter. The Right Honorable Vice President, represented by the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Services, Social Welfare, Mama Nabagereka, our cultural leaders, our religious leaders, our representatives, elected representatives, our United Nations Development Representative and representatives of UN agencies, trustees and members of the board of the Nabagereka Development Foundation, media, our media friends, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The Nabagereka Development Foundation is very grateful that the moment has come for the launching of this national program that is intended to revive our cultural values as a way of rebuilding values and ethics in Uganda through the use of the cultural concept of Obuntubulamu, and Andrew stated Obuntubulamu in all the other cultural languages. I'll use Obuntubulamu just so I don't take too much time. We are using the cultural concept of Obuntubulamu as a tool for development. Obuntubulamu is the cultural value system that guides all aspects of life, individual responsibilities, and the upbringing of children. It stems from the humanist African philosophy of Ubuntu, common to the peoples of East, Central, and Southern Africa. It implies a high sense of community and compassion and a bond of sharing that connects all. It refers to good behavior in relationship with other people. In other words, behaving well towards others and for the benefit of the community. The Obuntubulamu cultural value system includes some core values. It includes lots and lots of values, but the ones we have worked with in the development of this program are the following: a sense of self-respect and a sense of shame, civility, humility and respect for others, empathy, hygiene, responsibility, self-reliance, justice, leadership, transparency, selflessness, integrity, and honesty. The Ubuntu cultural values resonate with the principles of good governance, including respect, equity, participation, accountability, and transparency, which are a requisite for inclusive and peaceful societies and for nation building. The Nabagereka Development Foundation shares the growing acknowledgement of the loss of ethics and values in society, and that culture is a missing link in development and governance. The abolition of our cultural institutions in Uganda for 27 years, from 1966 to 1993, affected negatively the exercise of cultural values and led to the weakening of traditional mechanisms for sustaining a positive cultural system. This eroded societal values, confidence, and trust, which is believed to have contributed to the violent history of our country. Poverty and inequality in Uganda have been compounded by a breakdown in the country's moral fiber, as evidenced by endemic corruption. The 2020 Corruption Perception Index ranked Uganda number 142 out of 180 countries, with a score of 27 out of 100. Bribery, solicitation, embezzlement, and diversion of public resources, as well as nepotism, have become commonplace. We all live here and we know that. And according to Uganda's Fourth National Integrity Survey 2020, 1 in 3 people in Uganda had to pay a bribe to access services from public institutions in the 12 months preceding the survey. Corruption has a disproportionate impact on the poor and most vulnerable by increasing costs and delaying or reducing access to basic services. Ugandan society is also plagued by increased lawlessness, belligerent behavior, and a dependency syndrome. Based on this analysis, the foundation decided to refocus its programming work to promote the revival of Obuntubulamu as a way of beginning to address this loss of values. It conducted a series of consultations with a variety of groups, including the foundation's own trustees and board members, academia, business people, development agents, officials of the Buganda Kingdom, government, representatives of other kingdoms and cultural institutions, and graduates of the Exakate Nabagereka, which, as some of you know, is the social transformation youth camp organized for children between the ages of 6 and 18 to ground them in positive culture, social, and life skills. These consultations that were conducted helped to define Obuntubulamu and elaborate the concept of revival of Obuntubulamu. It also helped to establish a common understanding of the development context and rationale for the revival of the cultural values of Obuntubulamu. It identified the commonalities in cultural values of Obuntubulamu in a number of cultural institutions in Uganda, and a number of them are represented here this evening. It also helped us to identify the key elements of the tools that would be needed to revive Obuntubulamu. The consultations with cultural institutions led to strong collaboration in the conceptualization and design of the program. The cultural institutions of Acholi, Aluo, Buganda, Bunyoro, Busoga, Iteso Cultural Union, Keatekwa Rolango, Obsinga Bwarenzururu, and Tienga Dola agreed to the need to harness cultural leadership to revive cultural values in their regions in Uganda as a means of reviving ethics and ensure sustainable peace and development. They have embraced the concept, and some of them have started informally to incorporate Obuntubulamu in their activities. Given the identified need to revive our cultural values in order to rebuild values and ethics in our country, and the role played by our cultural institutions in the conceptualization and development of the program, this program, Harnessing Culture for Peace and Development, will be led by cultural institutions. While the program will be led by cultural institutions, it will be implemented in partnership with ministries and departments of government through national and local government and non-governmental structures. It is our belief that the program will become an integral part of the development plans and activities of our country. The program is well aligned with national priorities, as it comes at a time when the government of Uganda is encouraging the implementation of mindset change and values-based approaches to development, which should foster moral self-governance and social responsibility. The proposed program is well aligned, therefore, and is supportive of government policies and plans, including some of which are the National Ethical Values Policy, which emphasizes the importance of promoting and preserving rich cultural identity and values of Uganda in order to enhance national development within a harmonious environment. The National Development Plan 3, NDP 3, that recognizes the absence of a national value system as a contributing factor to poor service delivery, corruption, maladministration, and poor work ethic. The zero tolerance to corruption policy and the National Anti-Corruption Strategy, both of which emphasize the need for a multi-sectoral approach in the fight against corruption by, among others, promoting ethical conduct, societal moral values, and strengthening the social fabric. The Uganda National Culture Policy and the National Youth Policy emphasize the role of the family and the community in inculcating positive cultural values and nurturing culturally conscious citizens who will actively participate in government programs for wealth creation, sustainable development, and nation building. And finally, the Global Sustainable Development Goals of 2030 agenda, which capitalizes on the importance of promoting transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption, and makes an explicit link between corruption, peace, and just and inclusive societies. Goal 16 of the SDGs, which is about promoting peaceful and inclusive societies, is not only a valuable and important aspiration in its own right, it is also an important enabling goal for the entire Sustainable Development Agenda. We are very grateful to the government of Uganda for embracing the program and for accepting to work with the cultural institutions in the implementation of this program. Right Honorable Vice President, in the presence of our Minister for Gender, please take this message for us that we are grateful for government support for this program. The purpose of the program that we are launching today is to nurture a culture of ethics, integrity, and social responsibility in Uganda. In order to achieve this goal, the program will endeavor to do the following: promote and increase awareness of Obuntubulamu as a tool for development, engage and educate targeted groups on the values of Obuntubulamu, advocate for the adoption of Obuntubulamu in all sectors and at all levels of society, and strengthen the institutional capacity of cultural institutions to deliver the program. There is a general consensus that the whole nation of Uganda needs to be targeted. There is also agreement that the priority should be given to children and especially the youth, who constitute the greatest proportion of our population. It is, however, also agreed that without targeting the influencers of these children and youth, including parents, teachers, political and civic leaders, it will not be possible to impact on the young. Therefore, all Ugandans will be targeted, including in and out of school young people between the ages of 6 and 18, the youth aged 19 and above, the family, civil society, and private sector workplace, public, religious, and cultural institutions, and leaders in society, including our elected officials. In preparation for the implementation of the program, a number of knowledge products and tools have been developed. Facilitators for the program from cultural institutions, from schools, public and private institutions and organizations will be selected and attend a robust training program that will introduce them to the curriculum materials and participatory and experiential learning methodologies. The facilitators program will also include refresher training to sustain enthusiasm and for the continuous refinement of methodologies, as well as expansion of the pool of facilitators over the period of the program. The facilitators will be selected very carefully, ensuring that those brought on board espouse Obuntubulamu values and are able to model the desired behavior. An advocacy campaign through traditional mass and social media will support the implementation of the program. Advocacy champions, including social, religious, community, and educational influencers, will be identified to promote Obuntubulamu through different channels. A key consideration for the champions will be their commitment and demonstration of Obuntubulamu values, as well as their ability to relate with the different audiences. We would like to acknowledge with sincere appreciation the partnership of the United Nations Development Program, our UNDP, here in Uganda. UNDP provided catalytic funds for the conceptualization and design of the program through a series of preparatory activities which generated substantive knowledge material, policy commitments, and technical tools. It has also supported the development of the curriculum for the implementation of the program. It is exciting to note that UNDP is supporting the revival of Obuntubulamu program in Uganda as a pilot in the interest of spreading it out to other countries in Africa. We all know that the loss of values and ethics is not unique to Uganda. It is a global problem of our time. In closing, I would like to thank you, everybody who is here, for sharing this time with us as we launch this program. And that we hope and pray that this program will make a significant contribution to moving our nation forward to real progress, peace, and sustainable development. We believe strongly that we can do this if we all embrace the values of Obuntubulamu. I thank you very much.
Wow, a big, big hand of applause. Dr. Elizabeth Wanga, thank you so much for taking us through that journey. I think she went to Gayaza High School. Oh, she did, yes. That English can only be Gayaza High School. But thank you so much, Dr. Elizabeth. Thank you so much for taking us so freely and so passionately through that journey of Obuntubulamu by the Nabagereka Development Foundation. Your Excellency, thank you so much to the government of Uganda for the support. Mama Nabagereka, as always, thank you so much. And of course, our friends in the UNDP, thank you so much. Are we clapping? Yes. So we are going to switch the gears a little bit and listen to our panelists. We have 3 distinguished panelists who will be helping us to understand the need for Obuntubulamu. I want in a very special way to introduce Oweekitiibwa Philip Katahoire. Please join me in welcoming Oweekitiibwa. Come and take your seat, Oweekitiibwa, and I'll introduce you nicely. That's Oweekitiibwa. Please join me in welcoming Ruot Colin Mutu Atiku II. Yes. Please come and take your seat, Igwe. That is how we greet you. Thank you so much for coming. And last but not least, I would like to welcome Bob Opio Okech, the Honorable Minister for Culture and Legal Affairs in Alur Kingdom. Your Excellency, your Honorable Minister, please take your seat. I would like to introduce Oweekitiibwa Philip Katahoire. He is Oweekitiibwa, the longest serving minister in Bunyoro Kitala Kingdom under the reign of His Majesty Rukirabashaija Dr. Solomon Gafabusa I. Thank you so much. He's very well learned. He holds a BSc degree in statistics and economics from Makerere University. And he told us he's a family man with 8 children. Yes. Oweekitiibwa, we don't take you for granted. Thank you so much for keeping time and for coming. Ruot Colin Mutu Atiku II of Patiko Chiefdom and Deputy Paramount Chief West Acholi K. Kwaro Acholi. Did I pronounce that one with a vigor that it demands? K. Kwaro. He's the chairperson, governing council in K. Kwaro Acholi, and a focal person for reviving of Kit Matir at K. Kwaro Acholi and Acholi Sub-Region. He has an MBA in management and finance from St. Joseph University in Philadelphia in USA. Not a simple Oweekitiibwa. Thank you so much for coming. I would now like to also introduce Honorable Minister for Culture and Legal Affairs, Alur Kingdom, Bob Opio Okech. Honorable, you're very, very welcome. He's a lawyer and a teacher by profession and a legal educator and human rights trainer with a focus on land, children, women, culture, and environment. We would never had a better person than you, Honorable. Thank you so much, and we welcome you, our panelists. We'll go quickly, because of time, into our first question. Oweekitiibwa Philip, if I pronounce it just your first name, please bear with me. We have already heard, Oweekitiibwa, from the previous speakers that Obuntubulamu is very crucial for improving the life outcomes of majority of Ugandans. Oweekitiibwa, do you hold the same view?
Yes, Your Majesty and the guests, they have told me my name and everything. First, I think I should have 8 children. Everybody laughed, but you know, Bunyoro is unique. These guys, when they fought us, they gave us a bloody nose in the 1899 or something like that. So the Mukama said, we should try to replace those people who died. Who were, we were 2 million people, the Bunyoro. But by the end of the wars, 1899, we were only about 20% remaining. No, 10% of the people had died. So the Omukama actually said we should do our part, but educate them also. It's not planning badly. You get what you can afford to educate. I've done that. So even the head of state is saying every day that we should have Bubu. Buy Uganda, build Uganda. Now who'll buy the products? So anyway, that's the right note. But I believe in that really, Ubuntu is necessary. I was just wanting to quote you for one statement by John S. Mbiti. He wrote down, this one I read somewhere. The idea is that as human beings, it's almost impossible to live without others. This is what this man wrote, meaning that if you are in a society, in a community, what you do affects the other, the group. And the group, what it does, affects the others. So this is why I believe it's very important. When we were growing up, we were young, we had this culture. A neighbor could find you on the road playing to school. He was free to spank you, then take it to your parents for the same things. These are things why we're doing this. Your neighbor had a child, so yours. This child, if he doesn't behave well, he's going to marry your daughter tomorrow. You may think that you are a good man in a fence. This guy will take your daughter, you'll suffer. This is why we thank very much Her Royal Majesty and Her Royal Highness Navigator for bringing us together. When we came together, we were 5 kingdoms. Buganda was leading us. Then the trainer, Madame Luanga and Mr. Mukibi Adrian, they had an approach. They first described things which people do. Mwana wa gundi akoza atya, kubana ensonyi, muntakora ati. So then after there we came back. Actually, this is our brother here wrote, and Mr. Popo Bio. They didn't have this word in their culture. Okay, they didn't know what it means because this is Bantu word. After we described everything, then they said, hey, this is what we call Kuramatira, after realizing the values. Then this gentleman from Choli said, this is kit material. You see? Then, of course, Usoga and the Banyoro and the Baganda, we are, okay, we could really get it, but Usoga speak going downwards, Obuntubulamu, but the same word. In the majority, it's Ubuntu. Now, of late, what's interesting, we talked to the Bamba. The Bamba said, hey, we have it, Ubuntu Weka. In Kasese, Ubundu. Then of late, we discovered, after describing the values of Obuntubulamu, these guys from Teso said, Ichunganene. Now you can see how it is very universal. And it's really all over, except the wording we use. But Africans, we value this so much. It has made us what we are. I have an example. My mother is an old woman. I used to quarrel with her when we go there. We give her everything, give her money. Then she gives away to children going to school. If you find a kid from school, has no book, she sits in front of the house. Said, you come, what's wrong with you? She gives money. And we would complain, we Kampala people have all the time is a bit, we think we have everything. Said, you people, what I'm doing is your blessing. You don't know where you come from. And the Banyoro say, when you have Ubuntu, when you have humanity, you get people to come around you. When you get people, you get ebintu. Obotunga, Ubuntu, when Ubuntu, otunga abantu, then otunga ebintu. Those who come at home in our place at home, she gives books, gives them some food. They have given us land. They say, they're selling land here. You know, marketing is not done in the village with on billboards. So you find a mother giving us things, you know, somebody selling land here, you buy. If you didn't do that, you don't get those chances. So it's really, I believe in it, and that's why we came on board under Her Highness's guidance, and we appreciate you so much. Actually, I went on this quote. Bob Marley said, greatness of a man is not how much wealth he has created for himself, but in ability to influence positively those around him or her. So, Mama Nabagereka, you have done your part.
Wow.
The rest is up to us, everybody here, to join hands and support this cause.
Wow.
It's not only here, and we pray as you dreamt, from here, Uganda is already captured, because you can see the Bateso, they are here, Elamanoi, Papai Morimori, greetings to you. You know what, Bateso also believe in Emuria Kolyai, that the cultures of spreading, everybody is accepting in Uganda. Even in Kenya, everywhere, it's also there. So, Mama, you've done your part. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Owechitiwa, for that very powerful speech, call to action, but it's evident that you have the passion for Obuntubulamu. And one thing that you said, when you have Ubuntu,
yes,
then you have Abantu, and you have Ebintu.
Ebintu.
Wow.
That's simple.
I want to have Ebintu.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'll switch the gears now to Rod Colin Mutu. Rod Colin, focal person. You said it is Kit Matir. Kit Matir. Obuntubulamu Kit Matir. Rod, what puts Obuntubulamu at the center of development, of the development agenda? Can we really, is it possible that we can actually put it at the heart of development?
Yes, it's possible. First of all, for mature people here, we know very well that we grew up with these values when we were young. But as Ms. Luanga said earlier on, the disruptions that took away some of these values, we are trying to revive it and promote it. And I want to thank, first of all, Buganda Kingdom, second, and Nabagerega, for sharing it, because it was their ideas. We wouldn't have got it if they were selfish. The fact that they called us and brought us together and started, you know, putting the pieces together, and then spreading it. We went to schools, it is a very selfless, which is part of the Obuntubulamu program. And if we are demonstrating it, we are demonstrating because of the goodwill that Buganda Kingdom and Nabagerega gave us. Secondly, the lives that we live is not far from what we are talking about. If you are brought up in a good family, you know that these things are normal things for you to grow up and develop, to be a good human being. A good human being cannot stay alone, cannot live in isolation. We all have to depend on each other, not for provisions or anything every time, but just for wellness, for sharing, for happiness. I think it's not only in our culture, it's also in our religions. I think Christianity, Islam, all talk about the same thing. So I strongly believe in Obuntubulamu programs. And that's why I've dedicated a lot of my efforts and efforts of people in Acholi to promote this. Because we know in the long run, we are the ones who are going to benefit, or our next generations are going to benefit, and we'll all live much better. And we spread it all over. It's not surprising that if you go to, I'm pretty South Africa, or Zimbabwe, or whatever, you'll find the same values. That's why they have the same explanations. In Acholi, it's Kit Mati. In Alu, it's Kit Matira, Kora Matira. In Buganda, it's Obuntubulamu. In Bunyoro, it's Ubuntu. Why do we all have these things? It's because it's part of our nature. So we just need to revive it, and with the presence of the government and United Nations Development Program and other parties to this, I think we'll go a long way. And I want to appreciate everybody who's been here, first of all, together today, and the important persons like the minister, UNDP representative, Madame Luanga, whom I have to take to Acholi for in the next few days because she doesn't speak the language. So we have to give her some lessons. And most of all, Her Majesty, the Queen of Uganda. Thank you very much for being part of our program.
Thank you so much, Rod Colin. Thank you for helping us understand that it's actually possible to mainstream Obuntubulamu in the development agenda. I'll switch the gear now to Honorable Bob Opio. I read here on your bio, you said, heritage documentation and preservation is my noble way of practicing Obuntubulamu, also called Kura Matira, as a true African humanist philosophy. How powerful. Let's give him a big hand clap. Honorable, what has your kingdom done in practice to actually mainstream and promote Obuntubulamu? Here we call it Kura Matira.
Thank you very much, and thank you everybody for coming to our wonderful launch. Madam Elizabeth, you carried that a long way. We are finally here. And we thought we would not be here so quickly. Actually, it looks like a long time, forever, but we are now here. We have been talking about Kura Matira. This, you remember when Madame Elizabeth was making a presentation here, she talked about culture being a missing link. I would like to add also that Kura Matira is actually the centerpiece for this missing thing. Its characteristic of bringing cohesion together is very important for us. And up to now, my Prime Minister, Prince Lawrence Angala Opar, is also in the House. The Alur still live in this sense of cohesion. We still live in home states, one supporting the other. And that is because of Kura Matira. The Alur live both in Uganda and in Congo. Kura Matira is a Pan-African peace tool, because we often go to Congo and they come to our side to make peace whenever there's. So we picked on this and said, heritage documentation. We are now working on traditional justice. We have always been speaking about justice and traditional justice in Africa, in Uganda, and in Alur in particular, but they are not documented properly. It's orally passed down to our young generation. We have now decided to document, write the procedures, and hope to interest government to finally also give judicial powers to cultural institutions to do some justice for ourselves. That's one of the things we are already doing. We have documented one of our most central heritage sites at Pakwach, near the bridge. It's called Wanglei. That's where Gipir and Labongo, the story which is very familiar, of two brothers fighting. Now we can sit to the road, there's no problem. But there we fought and separated at that river. Now there's a site called Wanglei or Watlei. We managed to document its history. We even have an information board at that site, that everybody who comes to West Nile, and by the way, everybody, I mean all of us here, please pass by there and go and read about us in that. And that was the beginning of a different tribe called Alur, the separation. So we had to document this, and we hope that eventually we shall inscribe it as a UNESCO site. And that is our target. We have also seen that Kura Matira is good for us, and good for development, good for peacemaking. We decided to include, we talked again about inclusion here, the youth in the system. Cultural institutions are often looked at as institutions for the elderly, for the old-fashioned. So we decided to create a youth platform for the younger people on social media. Now, on social media, they have lots of discussions on their own. Where they cannot get the answers, then they call us, let me say, manually, the older ones. For them, so they come to the analogs like us, and then we explain to them details. This was very good, and it is working very well. And then we also said, Kura Matira is good. If it's good for me, good for you, good for us, and good for them, then everybody must come in. We decided 2 years ago, in the wisdom of our king, Philip Olarke Rauni III, he has appointed, for the first time in a long time, women on his cabinet. Because the questions were coming. There are now a woman for education and environment, and then a lady for tourism and hospitality, and then we have a director for health. So we are moving with the Kura Matira inclusion because it's good for them, good for us, and good for me. So these are parts of what we now call Kura Matira in programming in Alur Kingdom. And one of the other things that we do, we are now deliberately trying to make kinship as a value in Kura Matira very important. And kinship not only among the Alurs, but for the rest of us, for cultural institutions in Uganda, and also for other people in Uganda, because we are kin, whether we like it or not. We are one people, we must come together. And I was very, over the last 2 months, very pleased with my king when he personally attended the coronation anniversary of the cultural leader of Tiang Adola in Tororo. And Mr. Uwere is here with us. Just about a week ago, he was in Bunyoro Kitara, and we were very pleased to do that. Next week, on the 24th, he will be with Lubarakari, the Arua people, to share ideas, because in West Nile, Alur is the only kingdom gazetted by government so far, and we have vast experience in cultural institutions and in practicing Kura Matira values. So these have now become deliberate efforts for the Alur to impart Kura Matira values using our programming, so that they are in our programs, and there is no question about this. Everybody is included. These are some of the things we are doing, plus many more. Thank you very much.
Wow, how impressive. Honorable Minister, I saw you smiling when you heard him say that appointed women as ministers, because we know that is where you are. That is your heart. And I saw you really smiling. Thank you so much for sharing that, Honorable. Very quickly, as we close our panel, I'll come back to you, Tiwa, Philip. And I know this question is dear to all of us, but also dear to the UNDP, the SDG question. The SDG seems so far away up there, but it has penetrated the discussion of Obuntubulamu. Honorable Tiwa, Philip, the SDG 16 talks about promoting peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. That's a lot of English for the word Obuntubulamu. But how is this all attainable using the concept of Obuntubulamu? Is it possible to attain this goal?
Thank you very much. I think we all know that development is very important for everybody, like UNDP insists. I'm glad you said about justice system. I pick one example. You see now in Uganda, we've been having a case backlog, just too much. And investors abroad there, where they want to invest in Uganda, they also consider how justice system operates. How soon can you resolve conflicts? Now, Ubuntu, when we were growing up, for example, we had the communities, homes nearby would go work together. Kusigoburo, and those who know Nyoro, Nyankore, Toro, Kusigoburo would go together as a group. We work at a neighbor's place first, Kusigoburo. After that, you eat together. Of course, you have a meal. Normally, it was called a nyobo. A nyobo is a vihimba, beans with a binyevwa, nakalo. These people are now coming together. It's kind of a unit village. You imagine when they go to have a dispute, that means this man who is, if you have a conflict in these families, they will not run to this these courts to delay their cases. We can solve these cases at even that level. You know what happens when you solve a case using Obuntubulamu, for example? You don't get, these courts have a win, take it all. Once you win a case here in High Court, tomorrow you can't talk to that man. But for us using our Ubuntu, when you solve a case, everybody wins. In fact, we shake hands afterward. At first, the government was actually cagey. They thought cultural leaders are trying maybe to take their power. They thought we were maybe, but now I'm glad, Madam Minister, I heard you in Bengo the other day. We are really glad. I had Justice Alfonso Unyidolo has come to us. You see, now they have seen actually we are partners in development. So those kind of things, when you put Ubuntu in everything, even in the laws you pass, automatically development will take place.
Wow.
So I think this is very good, UN, Madam Country Representative. I'm glad you even have seen it before others have seen it, because we are really going to help each other in this development of the world.
Wow.
And I'm glad you are taking it to West Africa. We are one people. You can just imagine, the other day we saw Obasanjo in Mbarara. I think you saw him there, taking our milk, taking our coffee. But Ubuntu is very, very, it is a solution for everything, by the way. Can you imagine now we have been seeing people cutting off people's heads? So far, last week, 3 women have been cut off. Can you imagine that kind of thing? So, but if we put these children of ours, they missed, this era missed a bit in those years when things were cut off. But we believe, and we are very confident, that when we instill Ubuntu in our people, then we shall develop.
Right.
Because now talking of Emyoga, cooperate. How do you cooperate with the person you don't talk to? You don't greet. How do you cooperate with him? But when you you come out with somebody, that means the beginning of what? Of economic development.
Wow.
That's what I think.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Wachitiwa. Obuntubulamu is a win-win when it comes to access to justice. Thank you so much. Rot, is it possible to mainstream Obuntubulamu in achieving and attaining SDG 16?
The answer is absolutely, because I think collectively we can achieve a lot. Like they say in America, the sky is the limit. When we are together, we work together. So I think in some of the programs that the government develops and other institutions develop, I would suggest they consult Elizabeth Luanga to be their consultant on those things, because she has already done a lot to bring it out from nowhere to where we are today. These are examples of things that are pragmatic, that we can inherit or adopt or develop. So your answer is possible.
Totally, yes.
Thank
Thank you so much, very much for supporting that. Lastly, Honorable Ketch, is it possible? How can Obuntubulamu accelerate SDG 16?
That answer is unequivocal. It's true. Kuramatira can accelerate development. You see, the Alur, we have a mission statement which says a harmonious and peaceful society. You see, the presence of peace, the presence of harmony, which are all values in Kuramatira, makes anything we are doing become nearly a given, a success story. And therefore, if we have integrity and accountability, we have transparency, we have got hard work, we have got trust, we have got respect for leadership at the top level and so on, development will become a given, like I said, it will just flow in. So I agree totally that incorporating Kuramatira principles into our development programs will make us go further than this. Because remember, even in Uganda, the national ethical values are very much like our Kuramatira, what we have been talking about. So already government itself has thought about this, the national ethics, ethical values. They are similar to our Kuramatira. So we can go a long way with Kura material values.
Thank you very much. Please join our hands together in appreciating Honorable Roth, and thank you so much. Please stand up. We'll take a picture as the panelists. This will be a beautiful picture for the Development Foundation. You can come just near in front there. Because it's an all-men panel, I will join
Gender balance.
Kura Matira. So what are we saying? Kura Matira. Okay, so smile. 1, 2, 3. Obuntubulamu. Thank you so much. Please appreciate our panelists. I'll hand over now to Mr. Zake. Please, you can take your seats. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, our panelists this evening. You've made Obuntubulamu now very clear in our hearts. A bigger clap for our panelists. We want to welcome Sabaganzi Salongo Emmanuel Sechitoleko. Most welcome. Thank you very much. Omkungu Mike Chironde Janan Schools, and we'll be hosting Echisaka at 2025 Gatonya. That's January. Thank you very much for the support. Haji Swaibu Chimbowa, Director Dembe Distributors. Thank you very much. We want to hear the youth voice on Obuntubulamu. And I want the foundation manager, Andrew Adrian Muchibi, to give us what they did as a test to have this youth voice. Andrew Adrian, please have the floor.
Your Excellency, the Vice President, in January 2024, working with Ubuntu community, Mr. Richard Kawesa, please stand up for recognition. We came up with an idea which we called the Money Bag Challenge. And the idea behind this challenge was that let's trust random youth with money. They shouldn't sign any paper. They shouldn't leave any collateral, but we give them money, and then they go and test out whether this is a concept that can work, whether we can build trust amongst ourselves. Because the hypothesis at the foundation was that there's a lot of money in Ugandan public, but people don't have sufficient people they trust to do business with, or to entrust their resources with. So we did an attempt at trusting these youth. So we set out a team of our staff to walk onto the streets of Kampala and randomly pick youth and bring them to the foundation. So they were able to identify 36 youth, and the task was to be at Bulange on a certain day at 8 a.m. So by 8, we only had 8 participants. So we discussed, and I said, let's give him a little few more minutes. Then we agreed that no, we are not giving anyone any extra minute. We said 8, they should be here. But they sweet talked us to allow another 4. Yes, another 4. So we let them in. So they were strangers to each other. We told them, make groups, come up with a business idea, and pitch for money amongst the others. So they came up with different ideas, and they pitched the money. And we gave them money on that day to go and start business. 3 strangers, we give them money to go and start business. As we talk today, we only have 2 people on the program. The rest vanished. And there is no better proof that we need Obuntubulamu in Uganda. Help us play the video.
Nali nina mukwano gwange najja nanyumizaako about like naye baali bamuyise nange nampita okukola ki okumuwerekerako.
Nali manyi tugenda mu byamizannyo nga abaana bagereka bwe bamanyi otegeka emizannyo mu lubiri awo.
Nange nali mu ssaala zange nga nsaba, at least God to open a door for me. So we bantuukirako ne bagamba, are you free tomorrow? Ne gamba ndi free wendi. So abantu abo bakozesa obuntubulamu n'okwagaliza ne banjagaliza ne ngenda mu kifo kyabwe nga replacement yaabwe naye sinzi yalina ogendayo naye ku lw'obuntubulamu obwo n'okwagaliza bwe najoyinengera.
Bwe twatuuka e Bulange ne batusomesa, then we bamala otusomesa
batusaba business idea ne tugireeta nga group bwe twali twegasse.
Kati we batugatta mu groups zaali z'abantu basatu. Buli muntu first of all omu ku ffe yali talina smartphone ate nga tulina okukola group ya WhatsApp. So nga mulina continuinga mukubira and of which calling is a bit expensive.
Twali tetumanyi nti biri mu sente. Bwe tugireeta ne batugamba kakati tulinawo sente ze tugenda okubawa okusobola okutambuza idea yammwe.
Batwesiga ku lw'obuntubulamu bwe balina ne batuwa sente. Tetulina wantu wonna we twasayininga nti oba batusaba national ID.
Era ne tusanyuka nnyo ne tuvaayo nga tumanyi tugenda kukola business eyo ne bannange. Naye bwe twavaayo ne tutuuka ku ground ebigambo awo ne bitandika mu bantu. Omanyi jjukira bw'oba ofunye omukisa. Twafuna omukisa nga tetulina we tugusayiningidde.
Twali tuguze ring lights nga ze tugenda okukola nga tuzibaidde mu period by December zijja baziweddewo and of which kyafailinga. Ina tukatayimu n'atugamba singa twagulamu scrap ne tusuubula scrap atambula osinga ebinene n'ebintu bituula ne taking a time nga communication yebuze avaavaako omukubira essimu sometimes teriiko omulala n'agenda ebweru kati ate omuntu w'ebweru communication ate yeebera bannaye ebeera nzibu. Sometimes ng'ogendayo ku dduuka mwateeka ring lights nga wegomala kola naye taliiyo ngezaako omukubira essimu tebeerako.
Twali tusuubira nti tujja sigala nga tucommunicatinga nga tusharinga business ideas. Ekitaasoboka kuba abamu bwe twogerera kati tebakyankubirako kuba nze nali head wagundi wa group yaffe naye abamu tebasigala nga banchekingako nga ate nze nsigala mmenyeka nzekka.
Kyenamala okulaba nti abantu beesiga abantu kyekisookera ddala kubanga okufuna sente tetulina we twasayininga. So nayigamu nti omuntu asobola okwesiga omuntu.
Bamwe eyo period y'obuntubulamu bye twalimu nafuna ideas nenzigulawo company ushering era kati tukola ushering Majestic Ushers. Nayiga ebintu bingi kati natandika n'okulunda obulunzi.
Nenfunamu challenge nti oba oli awo sente zino zimanyi okutabula abantu. Kyova olaba nti oba oli awo twali group y'abantu bangi naye kati saawa eno twali basatu naye kati mu group ndiwo omu. So kati nayigamu enkolagana y'abantu bwe mulina okwataganamu mu mbeera eya bulijjo.
Nayigamu okubeera in fact by the omukkakkamu ku mutima n'omukkakkamu mu bantu. Abantu si buli muntu nosooka n'omuyiga embeera ze.
Abantu abamu si beesigwa kubanga singa babadde beesigwa singa ekintu kye twatandika balifubye okulaba nga tukimaliriza.
Nayiga nti abantu si buli muntu nti abeera n'obudde olw'okuba nti nayiga obuntubulamu bannabagereka baatuwa ssente tebatumanye ne bazituwa ne bazitwesigisa we didn't even sign yadde okwetaaka ID. Nange nakola same thing ku muntu omu yadde nange tannansasula.
Kyenyinza ogamba bavubuka bannange abali eyo nti tuyiga okukozesa emikisa egiba gituweereddwa nti osobola okusanga omukisa kati nga ffe guno gwe twasanga yesi bannange tebakirabamu kintu ky'amakulu naye ku ssaawa ya leero nti nze nkikozeemu era kati ssaawa eno ntandise okukifunamu.
Wow. Wow, that was so powerful. And by the way, Your Excellency, Your Highness, Ngobi David, the guy who remained in the group alone, is actually here. David, are you here? That is the guy, yes. David, thank you so much. That was really powerful. Obuntubulamu mulimu esente. Okay, we have spoken so much. We'll download a little bit and invite the Baraka performers, cultural performance of different cultures. Let's get ready for that. Let us invite Mr. Colin Lubega and your group. Colin is in charge of entertainment in Chisakate. Please welcome the Baraka performers. Okay.
Aiwangayo, aha, aiwanga mapora nyatinyo, aiwangayo tungurube komado habimi yango yili tukene, tungurube komado habimi yango yili ayon, dalbiranyo pirango mapora nyatinyo ayon, aha, aiwanga mapora nyatinyo, aiwangayo, aha, aiwanga mapora nyatinyo. Aiwanga mapora nyatin. Aiwangayo, tungurube komado habimi yango yili ayo. Aiwangayo, aha, aiwanga mapora nyatin. Aiwangayo, aha, aiwanga mapora nyatin. Aiwangayo, aha, aiwanga mapora nyatinyo, aiwanga tungurube komado habimi yango yili, aiwangayo, aha, aiwanga mapora nyatinyo, aiwangayo, aha, aiwanga mapora nyatinyo, Burungi Nyanyana waja wankore tanyowe Nyanyana waja wana wana kaburungi Waja muugura na wawera dora Waja wankore ta Nyanyana kamsa Mariamu mama ya walira reta karera kanabe ko mana karira iya mama ya reta karera mana walira reta karera kanabe ko mana karira reta karera mama ya reta karera kanabe ko mana walira mariamu mama reta karera kanabe ko mana walira Mariamu Musenda wowe salo ya yambira ya yasa Musenda wowe salo ya yambira ya yasa Ayambonye boye chalero ndi bubi Ayambonye boye Bukula 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 Yeja kaulida etolmi Bukula 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 ya yeja kaulida la la ya yeja kaulida yaka bukula 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 cho
tulese olwa abanga tulese alese n'abatajjanga mama tulese abanga tulese alese n'abatajjanga bakusimba zivuga awakonere kavuga alese n'abatajjanga tulowa kutimama atulowa kutimama alese n'abatajjanga obudde bukedde kale obudde bukedde wesimye kuyimbira kuyimbira abanene obuganda buladde abange buladde abalungi mwebuke olunaku lwa ssanyu abange mwebuke kale abange mwebuke kale abalungi mwetwale mama ndabira wa mama nesala balungi n'ababi mwoyo mulonde goyagala kumulondoola abange namwo goyezala omwoyo mulonde goyagala kumulondoola omulenzi akuba engala byagikuba lugwa goyayagala aleka engala byagenda ku ngoma ennene ebale nnyo otyo webale bamama mulonde oyagala kumulondola mwebale nnyo webale baba tuyanziza
Wow. Ekanika kenaole enanalole. Hey.
Well done.
Thank you very much. They deserve a better clap. Let's also invite Lazy Mover, who composed the Kit Matil song, to also entertain us. Mover, please come on stage.
Kiki quiero me pero que pomati bien pomati my boy lover and I am on down que mari o pero yo mala training up makirati no me lo money well bed quiero la tienda an tienda la twitch makirati ba wo mati wo mati making my joy wo mati Let me see hands up in the air like this. If you believe in Ubuntu. Hey, now walk at the next Timbalo. Hey, baby, get my team. I don't think I'm take it got here. Keep my team. Take it got here. Wara ni kwenye ngodo, woba ni kwenye ngodo, yogi chichi kwenye ngodo, kapeiba kwenye ngodo, unamewali ni kwenye ngodo, umekwali ni kwenye ngodo, namopejwa ni kwenye ngodo, kapeiba kwenye ngodo, kwenye pe, sho, kwenye pe, Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Your Royal Highness, ministers in the building, religious leaders, and every dignitary in here. My name is Laxi Mover. I'm an Acholi from Gulu, and I'm so happy to be here today. In the spirit of Obuntubulamu, as we call it, Kuomati in Acholi, I believe we as artists and musicians have a very, very big role and a huge one in playing, in passing the message, especially to the youth who listen to us and understand us. I want to thank Ruot Mamega, Ruot Mipatiro, for Ritual. I encourage the Nabagerika Foundation and our leaders, Rudy Mamegwa, to use us as musicians to pass this message of Ubuntu. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Mova.
Yes.
In one word.
Yes.
What does the song say?
Well, the song says, live a righteous life, because the seeds you sow today is what you will reap tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very great message. And now we are going to hear, we are going to witness a video call to action. A video on a call to action by cultural leaders. The different cultural leaders are calling us to action. So we are going to witness that. Can we have that video, please?
We are largely bedeviled by a breakdown of our moral fiber as evidenced by the endemic corruption in our society. The gender-based violence against our women and girls, the teenage pregnancies and early marriages that we see that lead to the waste of potential amongst our young women, the reckless waste or disposal, that is to say, poor hygiene amongst our people, that are leading us to have communicable diseases that should be avoided. In our society on Alur, we still suffer from issues like cholera and other preventable diseases. The environmental degradation, that is to say, deforestation, wetland reclamation, and much more. In our society here, we keep on seeing people burning trees for fuel, that is to say, charcoal. These are things that we should put an end to. There are many reasons that could explain the current state of affairs. The negative trends coupled with the growing individualism, materialism, and the consumerism that negate the spirit of I am because we are. There is a growing indifference to the extent that the different forms of corruption are no longer viewed with the level of aversion that they once were. On the other hand, contrary, those who use their positions for personal benefit are valorized as successful. These are what are leading to the continued detrimental impacts that we see in our society today. In Alur Kingdom, as the king, we have revised our traditional systems to help bridge the gap and help our young people develop themselves. Our system traditionally is called Kuramatira. The Kuramatira system has a few principles that our values are based on. Some of these principles include fear of God, the respect for our cultural leaders, the respect for each other, hard work, sense of shame, civility, empathy, peace. Peace is a key ingredient to helping societies develop and to remain united. I call upon all people in Alur Kingdom to embrace this call for the revival of values and ethics. All initiatives rooted in our positive culture play a vital role in the preservation of our heritage, fostering a sense of identity, unity, and by extension contributing to the social transformation of our country. Embracing of the values and ethics is not only necessary for the development of our society, but is critical for human survival and prosperity.
Now, the issue of cultural values, I think you know that there was a period of rebellion in this northern part of Uganda, particularly in Acholi area. And people were moved from their homes to the camps. And you know, to build in values and integrity, you need to grow up in a home. It starts with the parents. But that said, I think there's been deliberate and concerted effort of the roadies to ensure that we go back to our old cultural values and ethics. I think that state of affair has been really enhanced by ineffective setup of administration to ensure that certain values are maintained. At the moment, you can see there's the issue of corruption, there is the issue of teenage pregnancy, there is the issue of poor attendance of schools, there is the issue of environment, and you can only change that by talking to the younger generation, instilling them the importance of ethics and values in society. I think we have been campaigning. We have been talking to the elders. We have been talking to our ladies. Ladies in particular, they have to teach our daughters on the value of education, on the value of avoiding teenage pregnancy. And then on the other side, the men talk to their sons, avoid going with young girls, avoid getting into love affairs, concentrate on what you want to be in your life. You know, cultural institutions are supposed to make sure the population generally behaves well in terms of ability to respond to issues in a very polite and transparent manner. You must be able to ensure that the values and cultural traits are implemented to the latter. We have targets of activities that one has to do, like there is the development goals. And those development goals can only be achieved through sustainability, through integrity, through commitment, and through accountability. And I think these are things that we want to tell the people that sustainability and aspirations are aims and targets if we are to achieve development goals at some future stage.
By the names His Royal Highness Paul Sande Emolote Tomeleng Emor Papa Iteso III. As you know that Teso Kingdom, people of Teso community, they grew up respecting culture. Though now we are having challenges from the Western practices, but it is little, especially now on the issue of language. You find out our people who have gone to work in different places, you find that they bring up children not knowing the language. Our clan leadership is very strong. We established structures which have really tried to ensure that our people respect culture and practices the issue of incest, where relatives get married to one another. It is a taboo here in Teso. If you are caught doing that, you are punished and you pay heavily. So hygiene is very paramount. That's why you find that in our clan leaders, once in a while they move around the homes of their subjects to see to it that how is their hygiene. Do they drink water direct from the borehole or they boil it? We are well covered here. In most of the sub-counties of Teso, there are health centers, health center 3s, health center 2s and 4s, which have helped people so much. Unlike those days, you have to walk through the general hospital into miles away. A state of affair in respect of corruption in Uganda is so alarming. But I would like to thank the president of recent the actions he has taken. You have seen the members of parliament. They were taken to prison, conniving to defraud, to defraud the state. We have got a number of people who have lost lives because there are lack of drugs, just because of few people have diverted these drugs. Whoever has that mindset, it is our prayer that they should stop. First of all, you know, our institution now is about 25 years. It is not like the Buganda kingdom, which has been their inheritance for thousands of years. But all along, even those days, the colonial days, we had the clan leaderships. We had one clan head who has been bringing all the clans together. That is the Emormor. Emormor is the unifier, who brings all the other clan leaders together. One, we have been able to work hard and address the issues of reviving our culture, our practices and norms. There's that aspect of us, the parents, giving support in form of feeding the children in schools, so that the children don't fall out. That one also has been addressed. Everybody now is aware. When the term starts, they know their roles. You see? And also, we have also carried out a campaign to ensure that the young children are vaccinated. Wherever there is an exercise for vaccination, we are always on the lead. You know, for us in Teso, if you don't have a granary, you are not a man. If you don't have a kraal, you are not a man. So, this program is very, very good because it helps us to nurture our girl child. It helps us to nurture our boy child. To grow in a way that they respect their, the ethics of cultural norms and practices. That is the reason why we support that program of Obuntubulamu. It is like the program which your queen Nabagereka in Uganda is always holding in every end of year, where she brings all the girls together and educate them, put them in their camp on a week or two. By the time they live there, they are changing people. You see? And for us, we used to have that exercise done by our elder grandmothers.
The ingenuity of our forefathers is often manifested in concepts like Obuntubulamu as a way of life. It is marvelous that Obuntubulamu is still useful for societal cohesion and development. This has been vividly manifested through the ills of society, such as the gender-based violence, reckless disposal of waste, environmental degradation, unethical service providers, and greed. This way of life has been occasioned by growing individualism, that has negated the spirit of my brother's keeper. The path of reviving Obuntubulamu in Uganda will enable us to attain much more. We will position ourselves as persons who not only care about each other, but also take care of the environment for posterity. We hope that we all realize that the survival of humanity is premised on living our lives in the spirit of Obuntubulamu. Propagating our positive cultural values is one sure way of ensuring the attainment of peace, which will contribute to the attainment of sustainable development goals. Thank you. Osogo kwisanya na amani.
Your Excellency the Vice President, Your Royal Highness the Nabagereka, distinguished guests, there are other messages from Sabasajja Kabaka in the booklet that was handed over to you. So please find it. The message for Bunyoro Chitara Kingdom and other messages. Please find them. And there is a strong booklet, a handbook for Obuntubulamu. You can walk away with this booklet by paying only 30,000 shillings. It will be on a desk at the extreme end. 30,000 shillings for the handbook for Obuntubulamu. Sheila.
Thank you so much. Please join me in recognizing Dr. Yvonne Karamaji, Director Mild May Uganda. Dr. Yvonne, are you there? Thank you so much for coming. And of course, OHT wa Dr. Joyce Mulebeke from Busoga Kingdom, Minister of State of Gender in the Busoga Kingdom. Thank you very much, OHT wa. There you are. Please clap for her. Join me in welcoming OHT wa. Thank you so much for coming. It's now my singular honor, but on behalf of Nabagereka Development Foundation, to welcome Miss, forgive the pronunciation, Wane Wede, the UNDP resident representative here in Uganda. Please join me with a hearty welcome. That's not enough. And she's a Ugandan. She worked in Kitgum. So you're welcome, Wede.
Thank you, MC. Your Excellency, the Vice President of Uganda, represented by the Honorable Minister of Gender, Your Royal Highness, Nabagereka of Buganda, I'm founder of the Nabagereka Development Foundation, traditional rulers present here, representatives from ministries, departments, and agencies, Your Eminences, the religious leaders, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to you all. I'm delighted and greatly honored to join you on this landmark occasion to launch the Obuntubulamu program. On behalf of the United Nations Development Program, allow me to thank Our Royal Highness the Nabagereka of Buganda and the Nabagereka Development Foundation for championing this process, which now accords me the opportunity to speak about Obuntubulamu for peace and development. Before proceeding, let me say that UNDP is gratified to be associated with this journey. We commend the Foundation for fostering alliance with cultural institutions of Acholi, Alor, Bunyoro, Busoga, Iteso, Kete, Kwarolango, Obusinga, Waruenzuru, and Tieng Adola, and other stakeholders. Partnerships like this form a vital foundation for peaceful coexistence and fosters the environment for sustainable development. With roots from many African cultures, the Obuntubulamu embodies the interconnectedness of humanity through key values such as integrity, transparency, justice, civic engagement, shared responsibility, and proactive leadership. These values are critical for sustaining peace and development, more so in the current complex world that is experiencing multiple crises. Let me digress here and say that Obuntubulamu is not only for East and Southern Africa. There is a lot of Obuntubulamu where some of us come from, and it has different names. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the linkage of Obuntubulamu to the work of UNDP, particularly the Sustainable Development Goals, and in particular SDG 16, which is about peace, justice, and strong institutions, seeks to promote peaceful and inclusive societies, ensure access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable institutions at all levels, is interlinked. The SDG 16 is core to the achievement of all the SDGs, and hence Agenda 2030. For example, in Uganda's case, one finds that the third National Development Plan, the NDP3, has integrated SDG 16 in about 10 indicators that are aligned to the country's strategic objectives. These objectives are linked to NDP3 priority programs on governance and security, administration of justice, community mobilization and mindset change, human capital development, public sector transformation, decentralization, and local economic development and the legislature. UNDP looks forward to an enhancement of these in the forthcoming NDP4. On peace, we should work with a little bit of carefulness, not to define peace as merely the absence of military or armed conflicts and war. True peace encompasses much more. It is about the harmony, dignity, and well-being of all people, values that lie at the heart of Obuntubulamu, values that also lie at the heart of the SDGs. Values and ethics are critical in fostering peace and development within societies. They shape our individual and collective behavior, our attitudes, culture, and social norms that we use in our day-to-day interactions, governance of our homes, communities, and nations. When individuals and communities adhere to strong ethical standards, they are more likely to engage in peaceful interactions, promote social justice, and work collaboratively towards sustainable development. And from a development perspective, Obuntubulamu core values resonate with Agenda 2030 and the 5 principles of people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnerships. Countries across the world adopted Agenda 2030 and integrated it in their development frameworks. In Uganda, the NDP3 and the upcoming NDP4 are aligned to this development Agenda 2030, and they therefore prioritize mindset change among the key tenets of good governance. Also, Obuntubulamu emphasizes equality and equity, the acceptance that no one is useless and that we work as one. Socially, the moral goal of Obuntubulamu is to achieve a normative notion of personhood demonstrated in generosity, kindness, compassion, equality, justice, respect, and concern for others, key behavioral tenets that are associated with the promotion of the welfare of others that would translate in inclusion, therefore speaking to the principle of leave no one behind. Obuntubulamu principles are instructive about reconciliation, sharing, civility, responsibility, trust, reform, and rehabilitation as key elements to peace and development in any community or society. Obuntubulamu is foundational to establishing trust among individuals, communities, and nations. Trust is essential for peaceful coexistence. When people believe that others will act fairly and justly, they are more inclined to resolve conflicts amicably through dialogue rather than resorting to violence, and keen on creating environments where grievance can be addressed constructively. Individuals are also inspired to champion advocacy for the rights of marginalized groups or those affected by violence. From a governance angle, ethical behavior is the foundation for promoting accountability among leaders and their followers. Accountability helps prevent corruption, often a root cause of conflict, and ensures that resources are allocated equitably. In turn, equitable resource distribution contributes to social stability and peace. Ethical governance is critical for sustainable development initiatives. States can implement policies that address the root causes of poverty and inequality, enhance citizens' participation in decision making, empower communities to own development projects, and promote social cohesion. Those are key ingredients for lasting peace and development. In summary, values and ethics are essential for any society, beyond even peace and development. They ignite trust among individuals, encourage accountability, inspire advocacy, in the process fostering inclusive and participatory governance, and cultivating a culture of nonviolence. There is a dire need to practice Obuntubulamu at all levels. The principles of shared responsibility, integrity, and care for one another must guide us in ensuring dignity and a safer, more compassionate future for all. I therefore urge all stakeholders to be deliberate in promoting these values and ethics. Education, mentorship, and sensitization will be central in enhancing these values. Teaching children from an early age about empathy, cooperation, respect for diversity, and having future generations committed to nonviolence and social equity is a step forward. But you know what? They say leadership by example. So it's not just only for the children, it's also what we mirror to the children. UNDP is committed to partnering with the Nabagereka Development Foundation, the 9 cultural institutions, and other stakeholders as we journey together in the ongoing scaling up of the Obuntubulamu program. We believe this initiative is not only essential for Uganda, but also has the potential to inspire many countries in the world. We look forward to its wider adoption and integration as a tool for mindset change and a locally driven solution to enable lasting development. Thank you.
Wow, she deserves a bigger. Thank you so very much for those powerful remarks. And thank you, Elizabeth, for welcoming her back. It's such a wonderful time to share about Obuntubulamu from the UNDP resident representative. We are coming close to dinner. And for that matter, before I call on Elizabeth to call on Her Royal Highness, may we see the journey this far to where we are going to unveil the symbol. Please play that video.
Community is where we as humans thrive. It is part of our existence. The safety and the oneness that it brings allows us to explore endless possibilities. We find security, a sense of belonging, knowing that we are a small part of the larger whole. We learn to live with each other, help each other achieve our goals, and challenge one another to be the best version of ourselves for the good of the community. We realize that when our community prospers, we prosper along with it, and that every individual is responsible for the good of their neighbor. We discover that treating your fellow human with dignity creates an environment, an opportunity for the same to be reciprocated to you. And before long, a culture of oneness has taken root. This is the essence of what it means to be human.
Thank you very much. It's now my singular honor and privilege to invite Elizabeth Luanga to come to step forward and invite Her Royal Highness the Nabagereka to address us. She'll also mention what else Mama Nabagereka will be doing this evening.
Aren't you jealous that I am privileged to invite Her Royal Highness, the Nabagereka of Buganda, Mama Sylvia Naginda Ruswata, to come and address us. But before I ask her to come, I just want to tell you all and the rest of this nation that this idea of reviving our cultural values so that we can rebuild our ethics and values is Mama's idea. It's been such a privilege to be associated with the Nabagereka Development Foundation, which she set up as a mechanism and a channel for her to contribute to development, a wish that she so passionately holds. And I will not tell you how all of this started, but in her role as the Nabagereka, she felt really challenged that she must make a contribution to the development of our country. And it's such a joy and a pleasure to work with her. Mama, thank you. Thank you for all that you have taught us, the way you've guided us, and how you brought us to today when we launched this national program. So, Mama, I would like to invite you to come and talk to us, and then unveil our Obuntubulamu symbol. Thank you.
the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, represented by Honorable Betty Among, Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development, the UNDP representative, Ms. Vide, by ministers, Kabaka, by ministers from the central government, Sawa Ganzi, Supreme Mufti, and the representatives of all the religious leaders, culture leaders who we have been walking this journey with, the NDF board members and trustees, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I welcome you all to today's Obuntubulamu nationwide program launch. At the Nabagerika Development Foundation, we strongly believe in leveraging culture to address development challenges. The foundation combines the traditional value system of Obuntubulamu with contemporary value systems to promote moral, just, and dignified societies. Today's challenges, which include health epidemics and the economic crisis that the world is dealing with, raise the need for us to reevaluate our priorities and social contracts. The experiences lived call for us to rebuild and strengthen our human values. The revival of Obuntubulamu is one of the pathways to fostering a culture that promotes ethics, integrity, peace, and sustainable development. The young people and communities in general look up to the cultural and religious institutions for belonging and values. They recognize the unique position that these institutions play in shaping positive behavior in society. Socially, the moral goal of Obuntubulamu is to achieve a normative notion of parenthood demonstrated in generosity, kindness, compassion, respect, and concern. Furthermore, Obuntubulamu principles are instructive about reconciliation, sharing, civility, responsibility, trust, reform, and rehabilitation. All these elements are central to peace and development in any community or society. As the UNDP has eloquently explained this. From the economic viewpoint, Obuntubulamu emphasizes social justice, equality, and equity based on principles such as sharing and employment for all. This is a truly progressive approach for sustainable development. If the values and the ethical foundation emphasized are well understood and adapted by all, they will go a long way in delivering impactful results for social transformation. It will be easier to address serious challenges in society today, such as corruption, violence, climate change, and environmental degradation, and thereby nurture accountability, responsible citizenship, and inclusive development. There are more than 65 distinctive ethnic groups in Uganda, each with its uniqueness, social strata, cultural norms, and behavioral patterns. Differences notwithstanding, there is a comprehensive agreement on several fundamental moral values. Consultations with partner culture institutions, including Choli, Alur, Bunyoro, Busoga, among others, showed us that we hold in common almost all the core values embedded in the Obuntubulamu concept. It is a rich moral well from which we can draw many lessons for mending and sustaining our society. It is one of our test contributions towards the promotion of harmonious living. Ladies and gentlemen, the Obuntubulamu program is a significant undertaking, as it will be rolled out across the country to foster a sense of social behavior and transformation among the youth and the people of Uganda, regardless of our ethnic backgrounds. Many thanks to the culture institutions that have worked with the Nabagereka Development Foundation towards making this program and its launch possible. We are grateful to our partner, the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, that saw the significance of Obuntubulamu in the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. As you've heard, we've actually been on this journey for many years. But I remember when we spoke to, I think 5 years down the line, when we spoke to the UNDP representative then, this particular topic was taken to the sidelines of the General Assembly in New York that year. So that's the importance, the importance of Obuntubulamu as a tool for peace and development. So UNDP gave us encouragement and financial support for the preparatory work of developing the revival of Obuntubulamu program and for the development of the tools. I implore you all to be part of the Obuntubulamu initiative. And please talk to the people who haven't been here. When you go back home to your offices and wherever you are, talk to them about Obuntubulamu. We are optimistic that this program will yield positive results in fostering ethical living and humanity in Uganda. I thank you all for coming today, and thank you all for listening. May God bless you. Now, before we unveil, I would like to call the Honorable Minister representing the Vice President, Honorable Minister Betty Among. Please, can you come and address the audience? Thank you.
A big clap for Her Highness and a big clap for the Right Honorable Minister.
Her Royal Highness, the Nabagereka, the Honorable Minister of ICT, my colleague, the former Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Honorable Maria Kiwanuka, the UNDP resident rep, cultural religious leaders, all of you in your various capacities. I want to start by bringing apology from Her Excellency the Vice President, who is in Russia for Europe-Asia Women's Forum and also undertaking bilateral meetings on behalf of the government of Uganda. She sends heartily congratulations and thank you for the work that Her Royal Highness is doing for the women of Uganda and for Uganda and for Buganda Kingdom. She has requested you to notify you that Her Royal Highness has met with her. They have discussed extensively how they will cooperate and how she will cooperate with her and of our office in fostering this initiative, which is so crucial in the NDP 4, which is being formulated, and that we will ensure that it is integrated in the NDP 4. I also want to confirm to you that His Excellency the President equally briefed Cabinet after the meeting with Our Royal Highness in the context of our work, which we are launching today, and directed us as the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development to work closely with our office to foster this initiative. I bring his greeting equally. I will therefore congratulate you first as the Minister of Gender, Labour and Social Development, because all the issues that have been raised revolves around issues that is under the mandate of the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, the vision, the mission, issues around cultural values, youth, ethics, values, gender inclusion, work ethics, gender-based violence, teenage pregnancy, to mention but a few, are issues that we continue to work with, and we have already started working with the cultural institution. And when I was listening to the cultural leaders, their commitments on the issues that they want to drive under this initiative, I felt so comfortable that my work is already done by the Nabagereka and the foundation through this cultural institution. So I am so delighted that this journey will be a journey that will walk together. Let me now turn to read Her Excellency the Vice President's speech. I'm pleased to represent the government of Uganda to this important event. When as a people we pause to reflect on the subject of reviving our values and ethics, which we know today are wanting in our society. The government of Uganda applauds our cultural leaders for taking the lead in this initiative. Indeed, as the custodians of culture, they have a major role in this program that we are launching today. Obuntubulamu, Otunganane, Kit Matir, Kura Matir, Obundu, Kit Aber, or Kura Maber, to name a few, as has been defined, is a concept that is rich in values, makes us human, and exists in all our many cultures. Unfortunately, along the way of our nation's history, we seem to have lost some of those values. In recognition of this reality, government has put in place a number of policies to address this problem. These include the National Ethical Values Policy of 2013, the Zero Tolerance to Corruption Policy, National Anti-Corruption Strategy, Leadership Code Act, the Uganda National Culture Policy of 2006, the National Youth Policy of 2016, and the Draft National Family Policy and the Uganda National Parenting Guidelines. These policies speak to the importance of cultural values for development and prosperity. The third National Development Plan recognizes the absence of a national value system as a contributing factor to poor service delivery, corruption, maladministration, and poor work ethic. This program that we are launching today, therefore, is a most welcome contribution to enhancing the implementation of government policies and plans. Our cultural institutions play a significant role in the social transformation of the nation. They have promoted diversity and encouraged respect for all cultural groups, thus fostering social cohesion and tolerance. They often offer educational programs which promote critical thinking, lifelong learning, and cultural awareness that are needed for intellectual growth and social development of society. Cultural institutions are well known for providing gathering places for people of diverse backgrounds and creating opportunities for social interaction and the exchange of ideas, and thereby fostering a sense of belonging and unity among citizens. Cultural institutions contribute to economic growth through the creation of jobs, especially in areas such as tourism, hospitality, and the creative arts. This has impact on the economic well-being of people and the country's overall prosperity. Social values such as community, compassion, justice, cooperation, and well-being are fostered by cultural institutions. By promoting these values and behaviors, we seek to create a society where individuals and communities can thrive collectively, ultimately leading to the attainment of our national aspirations. Government is hopeful that with cultural institutions leading in the revival of our cultural values, the collective well-being of communities will be enhanced. This is because we know that the values of Obuntubulamu encourage individuals to support and uplift one another and amplify a sense of solidarity leading to social transformation. When people genuinely care about the well-being of their fellow community members, social harmony and a sense of shared prosperity increases. Upholding these values ensures that resources and opportunities are distributed equitably within the society, community, creating a more just and equitable society. In practicing Obuntubulamu values, collaboration and cooperation are valued over competition. When individuals and groups work together for common goals, it can lead to increased productivity and economic growth. As we embrace these values, we are invited to appreciate that even with all the modernity and its changes, there's still much to learn from the values that our society expounds for the common good. I'm not suggesting that we go back to the past, even in aspects that could have outlived their importance. We should not adopt modernity for its own sake. Rather, we do so because we feel these values will make our lives better. In the same way, we should not abandon our traditional values simply because we live in a modern, different age. We should only drop what is harmful and no longer helpful. We should uphold what is valuable. As the great Acholi poet, Okot Bitek, urged us that pumpkin in the old homestead should not be uprooted. Today, we are sharing a national journey that will see us embrace values and ethics as a way of life. I take this opportunity to invite all Ugandans to be part of this journey. Government is committed to ensuring that this program is integrated in all our learning and in all institutional structure and practices, and I commit as the Vice President to have an interministerial engagement to ensure that they are integrated in the institutions and MDS of government. As I close, I would like to express government's appreciation to the Nabagereka Development Foundation for initiating this program. I thank you for God and my country. Thank you. So that's the Vice President's message, and I don't want to add anything, but I just want to say, as the Ministry of Gender, we had your team that came to our office, and I told them that we will be able to give our fuel of 10 million, which we will process and send to the Development Foundation. Thank you very much.
A very big clap to the Vice President. as she's joined by Her Royal Highness to unveil the symbol for Obuntubulamu. The Vice President, represented by the Honorable Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Honorable Betty Amongi, and Her Royal Highness, the Nabagirika, are going to unveil the symbol for Obuntubulamu. I'll count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. A bigger clap. Thank you so very much, the Vice President, and thank you very much, Her Royal Highness, the Nabagirika, for that wonderful unveiling of the symbol for Obuntubulamu. So every time you see that symbol, yes, practice Obuntubulamu, be Obuntubulamu, let Obuntubulamu fill our homes and our villages and our communities and the world at large. Thank you very much. We will soon have anthems and then we'll proceed into dinner. May we raise for the anthems, and then we'll get into dinner. We'll start with the last stanza of the Chitiwa cha Buganda, and then one stanza for the national anthem.
Owangali Ssaabasajja.
Thank you very much. The Vice President will have a picture with Her Royal Highness and a few selected guests to capture this moment for the entire period that we've been here, but also to signify the unveiling of the symbol of Obuntubulamu.
Obuntu
Betty Amongi, Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Her Royal Highness the Navagirika, the UNDP Resident Representative, the Chairperson of the Board, NDF, Controller, can you please switch off the... Okay, that's good. Abechitiibwa Kotilda Nakate Chikomeko, Wechitiibwa Hajat Mariam, Savaganzi, please.
Tulimisubawa twake chatutondela, tulimisubawa twake chatutondela, tulimisubawa.
Is also joining in the picture. All the cultural leaders.
Tukirize mwangu bino betulimu gasi byangu, tulimisubawa ensi gye tulimu tugifuluma mu mangu.